Let's work on question B in this video. So suppose that the government has a cost of redistributing income and the cost is equal to 0.1 times Y, where Y is the money that is being collected from Dunya to give to Nikki. How much income is optimally collected and how much does Nikki receive? Now let's understand the intuition here. We know that Dunya has 2,000 euros and we want Nikki to have some money as well. The point is that giving money from Dunya to Nikki now is costly, so we're trying to give a certain amount of money. Let's call that certain amount Y. We're trying to give income level of Y from Dunya to Nikki. Now, because it costs 0.1 times Y, right? 10%, so to speak, of that money goes to the government because, I don't know, maybe the paperwork to distribute it or, you know, bureaucracy stuff and things like that. So 10% are going to the government for redistributing this income as a cost, and 90% means that 90% go to Nikki, right? Nikki only receives 90% of that money. So in other words, if this income is the money that Dunya gives, Dunya is left with the following amount. Dunya is left with 2,000 euros that she has from her work minus the money that she's giving. Now, how much does Nikki receive? Well, Nikki receives only 90% of it, just because of what we discussed. So 0.9 times Y. Hope this makes sense because this is the highlight of the question. This is the most important thing in the question. What we also know is that social welfare is additive, meaning that the utility is equal to, the social welfare is equal to the utility of Dunya plus the utility of Nikki. In other words, if we write this with the actual utility functions, because we know the utility functions, it's square root of the incomes, what will the social welfare function look like? Well, it will look like that. Square root of the income of Dunya, and the income of Dunya is 2,000 minus Y. So we have square root of 2,000, let me just write that better, 2,000 minus Y plus the utility of Nikki is going to be square root of the income of Nikki, which is 0.9 times Y. So square root of 0.9 times Y. Now before we move forward, let's understand the math behind this utility function. This is a function that is based on this square root. Now graphically, this is how a square root looks like. This is a concave graph. If we have the relationship between the welfare function, right, the social welfare, and the income that is being distributed, that is the idea, that Y is not just income overall in the society, is the income that is being distributed, and that's a key point over here. This is how it's going to look like. We're going to hit a point of diminishing returns, meaning that there is a level of distribution that maximizes the social welfare function. That is the intuition. So we want to find out what is the level of income that must be distributed to maximize the social welfare function, because that's the question. We want to optimally distribute income. Now, with that said, how does it look like on this graph? Well, we will have the slope, the derivative of the welfare function with respect to the distributing income must be equal to 0. In other words, the derivative of the welfare function with respect to Y must be equal to 0. Now with that said, we must solve all this math and find out the Y, and we'll do so in the next video.